Howdy people, welcome back to VGU Plays Dark Souls 2 with Jeff, also known as the Jeff Mage. I'm Don the Expert Coles here for VideoGamesUncovered.com, and last time we got to another bonfire. Fantastic. So of course we're going to just sit at this bonfire here, contemplate what to do next. And yeah, I do something really stupid here and I just burn a human effigy. Now, this does show off what a human effigy is capable of doing, because if you use it as an actual item, it restores your humanity. If you burn it at the bonfire, it stops PvP interaction. Yeah. So that was kind of stupid on my part, because I had barely came across any PvP at this level, nor do I think anything was going to happen. But look! This vendor's giving away more mage arrows, so of course, I'm going to do the right thing here and get me some friggin' arrows of maging awesomeness. So that will take me up to 60 mage arrows instead of my default 30. Very, very handy for later on. Now, as you can see here, there are some other items the merchant can give away, and if you do want to buy them, that's fantastic. I would recommend, however, that you do purchase that key, because that key will open the blacksmith's house right back in Medulla, so that will definitely help you out. Now, this is a option. I decide to kill the merchant here. Now, some of you guys may be thinking, no, don't kill the merchant, but trust me, this was an idea that I had from the get-go. I knew what I was planning on doing, and quite frankly, I wanted this guy dead. Straight up. So, there is a reason as to why I am killing off this merchant. Because this merchant gives off possibly one of the best early rings you can get in the game. And, well, have a look at it. It is the covetous Silver Serpent Ring +1. What this ring does is, it improves the amount of souls that you gain after killing an enemy. And because it is the +1 variant, it gives you a lot more souls. Effectively, I now have soul gain up the butt, which is pretty darn amazing. Now, that is completely optional. You can kill that merchant if you so wish. If you don't kill that merchant, talk to that merchant a little bit, and then he or she, because I'm not too sure, I think it's a she actually, she will then move on to Medulla, and then that mage will be easily obtainable via Medulla instead. So let's carry on with our adventure, shall we? Now that we have our brand new shiny ring. Now, as you can see over here, there is another item we can pick up that I didn't pick up last time, but it's guarded by a sleeping halberd guy. These halberd guys can be a little bit tough to deal with due to the fact that they have way more range than anything else you've dealt with so far leading up to this point. And in some cases you can hide behind the wall, but if he does a certain attack with his halberd, I think it's the downward strike that he does with the halberd, it can clip through the wall and still hit you, so still be very careful with that. But we picked up some new items back there. Some witching urns. The witching urns are actually really handy because they just do straight up magic damage to an opponent. So that's quite nice. So, what we are going to do now is equip ourselves, get ready, and move on. Before going any deeper in the Forest of Lost Giants, I decided to quickly go back to Medulla and level up. So now I'm hitting a really tough point because obviously attunement's pretty darn important because it obviously helps with how many spells you can hold, as well as how fast you can shoot them. So of course I'm going to level that up. But as well as that, I kind of need to level up intelligence and faith on top of that. But I'm also going to put a little bit into dex, just in case I bump into any half-decent dex weapons later on. That can at least help me out. Because, let's put it this way, I might be a mage and I might be casting spells a lot, but there will be a situation where I will have to go melee onto something. And when I have to go melee onto something, I will genuinely need a half-decent weapon that gives me the power to deal with those threats. So, I put a little bit into dex for now. I'm probably only going to get dex up to 10 or even 15 is probably the highest I'm going to get it. But I'm mostly going to concentrate on intelligence, attunement, and faith. We're not going to see much of what happens with faith for now, but we'll see more about that later on.
Ah, yes, very good. Now I can get to work. But first, let me set up. Come again later.
Ah, good boy Jeff being a good Samaritan here. We helped out the blacksmith open his house, and if you open this chest, you get yourself a short bow. Incredibly handy, because you never know when you might need to go into ranged combat. And of course, a bow is always good for ranged combat. Now you might be thinking, but you're a mage! You already have ranged combat capabilities. Yes, I do. But if you have an alternative to using spells, take it with you. Because you never know when you might run out of spells, or you might not have the items you need to get all your spell charges back. It's pretty bad. So in this house over here, where you have the little merchant that just gives you updated armors and all that jazz, if you go up here into the back of the hut, you get a Titanite shard. Incredibly handy for leveling up your stuff. Now I'm going to keep a hold of a few Titanite shards for now, simply because I am not too sure at the moment what weapons there are out there for a build that I'm going for. I know there are a lot of faith weapons that I can equip later on that are pretty darn powerful and that I'm hoping to aim for. But when it comes to actual intelligence-based weaponry, barely know a lot. If any of you guys at home who are watching this know of any good sorcery weapons that Jeff can potentially acquire, let me know in the comments below, because of course, I want to make sure that Jeff is the best darn mage in existence. Instead of going back to the forest straight away, I took a little bit of a detour here, and instead took this second option in Majula to head towards Hyde's Tower of Flame. A really beautiful location, if I do say so myself. Sunken cities? Love it. So this area is a little bit tough. Much tougher, in fact, than the forest. Because you have these really big sentinel guys. And you'll see different variants of these guys. There's a sword and board variant, which we're fighting against now. There is a mace variant, which you'll see in just a little bit, just up the stairs. And then, after the mace variant, you also have a greatsword variant. The hardest one, in my opinion, in these guys, is definitely the greatsword variant one. Because the greatsword variant will not just do really, really big amounts of damage, but can also have a relatively tough moveset to dodge and block if you're not equipped for the situation. And of course, with Jeff here, I'm not really going to be building straight towards massive shields that are meant to block. I'm going to mainly be concentrating on dodging enemy attacks, shooting from afar, getting into that key position that I need, and casting the spells that I need to deal with these guys. But the lucky thing is, with the sword and board guys and the mace guys, they're relatively easy to dodge, so you don't have to worry that much about them. Now, as you can see here, my bloodstain is on the floor. There's a reason why. You see, off screen, I came here just to see if Jeff was ready, and quite frankly, Jeff was not. When I came up to this guy, I was 1, running out of soul arrows, and 2, I fell off the edge. So that didn't really help that much. As you can also see here, Jeff is now wearing a brand new helmet that I bought off of a merchant, where I got that Titanite shard a little bit earlier on. Just to give him that little bit more defense, and quite frankly, it gives him a half-decent hat that actually does something. At least for now. So as you can see, this mace guy has a completely different moveset to the sword and board dude. Does a heck of a lot more damage. I think it's equal, if not a little bit less damage from the greatsword guys. I haven't really looked at specifics though. But when you beat him, you get the shiniest of shiniest items. Oh yeah. And don't worry, I'm going to explain what that does in just a second. So now we are back in the lovely world of Majula. Leveled up a little bit. I didn't really do that much. I just ticked up my intelligence by 1. But as you can see here, our new item can be used on this bonfire. All we have to do is burn it. Now you can only burn this item at the Majula bonfire so that its effects work. But effectively, once you burn it at the bonfire, it makes your Estus flask more powerful. That's right, we now have an Estus flask +1. Yes! Which you can get really early on. Which I would definitely recommend when you are ready to take on. Now this obviously means when you first get to Majula, you can just go there straight away. and effectively get 2 Estus Flasks plus 1s as you see fit. But for me, I took my time a little bit. I went to a forest just to get a little bit more levels and mainly to get the soul arrows that I needed. And now, I'm feeling pretty good. So what Jeff is going to do here, he's going to take his position right back of the sunset. He's going to have a very nice time looking into the sun and possibly burning his eyes. And, quite frankly, he's going to see you next time when we are going to continue our way through the forest of lost giants. We're going to see how well we can do, we're going to see what pain we can deal, and we're going to see what new loot we might just acquire. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to help Jeff on his adventures in the comments below if you think he has missed anything, or if you think there is anything in the near future that can definitely help him out. Until then guys, I'll be seeing you on the other side.